everyone,
Hello.
and welcome to Kirsty and Bryony's Comfort Zone.
I am Kirsty.
And I am Bryony, and we are going to talk about dreams and see what the heck is going on inside our heads.
Not much. Spoilers.
Not much. Yeah, I have been devoid of dreams. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Devoid?
Devoid.
I just suddenly had that panic of like,
Is that
do
a
I
real
mean
word
void?
that exists?
I just saying it's devoid.
Devoid. Yeah, it's like I used the word othered yesterday, and Nalzi was like, "What?" And I was like, "Othered," and it was like, "Huh? I've not heard of that word before." And I was like, "Really? Like, that's definitely a word." And then Rydian came and backed me up. He's like, "Yeah, no, that is a word." And I was like, "Thank God." I had a little crisis. I was like, "I'm sure that's a word."
I get those moments. It's like if I'm on stream and having to read stuff out, and you get to a word, and you're just like, "Wait, is this how this is said?" Like back in the day when, I guess the typical thing is if I'm doing book club, and there be a way that I pronounce someone's name in my head, and then you've got to be like, "So what did everyone else think of
that guy?"
Simon.
Oh my God.
I hope that's how it's said.
Simone.
Simone. The one I always get is Harbinger.
Oh yeah, Harbinger.
And what's the classic one?
Cash and cachet is another one.
What's the one that? Hyperbole.
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 Yeah.
Hyperbole is such a good word.
Yeah.
It's just nice to say hyperbole.
Reading just do be difficult. Sometimes.
It do. I'm excited because this is not sponsored. I just got an email randomly from Amazon yesterday, like, here's 3 months of Audible for 99p, and I was like, okay. So now I'm like, oh my God, I get to listen to a book.
Do you get credits with that?
Yeah, it's the subscription where you get a monthly credit, I think.
Nice.
But Rydian recommended me one to listen to, which is very good, and I'm looking forward to it. But he said it's like 4 hours long, so I'm going to listen to it today, and then I'm going to be like, now what? So I'm probably going to end up buying another book.
If you want probably the best value for money, you can get, I think it's called like the Sherlock Collection, and it's read by Stephen Fry, and it's ridiculously massive.
Oh my God.
I got it because I love listening to Stephen Fry because I find his voice very calming, and obviously I'm a big fan of Mythos. I've just finished listening to Mythos for the billionth time, and now I'm back on Heroes again. And I was like, oh, this is huge, and there's so much of it, and I can listen to Stephen Fry for so long. But his voice in it is not calming, fall asleep voice, which is what his other books are. His voice is very much like, I am Sherlock Holmes, and I'm going to solve a crime. And I'm just like, oh my God, I cannot fall asleep to this. It's just too much. So I've not really listened to it, but there is a lot of it. That's something I can say for it.
Oh, that's good. I'm just looking. I've got the Audible desktop app as well, but it's not updating to have my most recent books. But I've got some old ones on there. I've got the Book Thief, so I can listen to that because that's a banger.
Oh.
That's a very good book.
My favourite thing, other than the Mythos books, is there's one called the Jane Austen Collection. And it's like, I think it's 5 different Jane Austen books that you get in one. If you're a fan of that sort of thing, it's very good.
Yeah.
If you're not, it's not.
If you're not a fan, then don't listen.
The only problem with that one is some of them, the audio mixing is really well done. Like Pride and Prejudice is well done. Others, I think it's maybe Sense and Sensibility is very much it's one of those styles of audiobooks where it has music at the beginning and end of every chapter, and it's so much louder than the talking. So I listen to it to get to sleep, and then it'll get to the end of a chapter and I'll be woken up because it's this real like string quartet. And I'm just like, what's happening?
Oh, that's so often the way, isn't it? They'll have a really loud musical bit It's like I was listening to a podcast the other day and the episodes were only like a few minutes long. And, you know, you listen to us and it's an hour long. So you get the nice theme tune and whatever. And that's great. Imagine if it was a few minutes long and you had to listen to that every like 3-4 minutes. It would absolutely do your head in. And I listened to 26 episodes of this podcast while I was driving, and oh my god, it was a lovely little tune. I think the man had done it himself, but it was on an acoustic guitar. And you know, sometimes when like the string gets plucked and it's like a dung and it's in your ears sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that kept happening. And it's just, the podcast would start again. I'm like, oh no, here we go. And I'd have to turn it down just so that my ears didn't like hurt.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, wait, I've remembered. I think it's Persuasion that has the really exciting one. Sense and Sensibility has a really bloody miserable one that's just like a single violin going... and it plays at the end, and then it plays it again at the beginning of the next chapter, so you have to listen to it twice, and I'm always just like,
that's the sound that plays when I have to get out of bed. I've had another look at my library. Apparently I have Eye of the World in here. Don't know where that came from, so we can listen to a Wheel of Time. I don't know how that ended up in here, but I've got it.
Yeah.
Because I've got that in real life as well, but I don't remember getting on Audible.
I don't know if this is a new thing that they've started doing, but maybe I just don't listen to the end of books very often. But they've started doing this thing where at the end, when you get to the end of a book, it'll play a sample for another book, just a random book to try and tempt you into getting that one, I suppose. And it really confused me the other day because I fell asleep listening to Stephen Fry. And then I woke up and I was just like, there's just a man talking in the room. Like, what is this? Who are like, and you know, when you're in that confused level of not really knowing what's going on. And I was like, I don't recognize this voice. And what is he saying to me? Like, what's happening? I was just so confused. And eventually I was like, oh, it's Audible. Just trying to sell me a book at 4 a.m. Okay, thank you. Because I think I'd forgotten to put my sleep timer on, so it just kept on running all that time. But that sort of summarizes what my last 2 weeks have been like, to be honest. I've not really had any dreams, apart from, I know that I've had dreams, but it's been like the tiniest little snippets. Like when Taboo was staying with us, I remember there was one day where because you know the way he baps at a door, like he's very good. He doesn't claw at it. You just hear the softness of paws hitting the door, but there's no scratching. There's no malice behind the baps. It's just pure like, please
let me in,
let
please.
me in. And I remember having a dream where I could hear that sound and it was leaking into my dream, and I was just watching this woman brush her hair along with the sound of these soft bapping scrapes on the door. And that was it. That's all I remember. And last night I remember having a dream about Farle, which is not me saying that I didn't have any dreams at all. I had a dream about the medieval dice game Farle.
What?
Because before I went to bed, I was playing Farle.
Farle, I'm looking it up. If you'd asked me what Farle is, I would have said a horse.
Oh, little Farle.
It sounds like a horse name, like a racehorse. Oh, I see. Okay.
I think, can you play it? Do you play it in Kingdom Come Deliverance, maybe?
Oh, probably, yeah.
I was playing this game called Dice a Lot, which is basically the Balatro Farle version, if that makes sense.
Right.
It's the what Balatro is to poker, this game is to Farle. People who don't know what either of these games are, I sound mad right now. They're just like, what are these words that you're saying?
Oh my gosh.
But it's really good.
I found an online Farle player. I'm playing against Bill. He's winning.
Gosh.
Screw you, Bill.
The king of Farle. It's basically like you roll 6 dice and you score points based on what it is. You need to if you roll all 6 and you have no scoreable dice in those, so you need like a 1 or a 5, or you need at least, you could have a maiden's triple where you have 3 of the same, or you could have the Albion Road, I think it's called, where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on your dice and stuff like that. But if you don't have any dice, then that is a Farle and you lose your turn.
Oh.
And then your other opponent gets to go. And they've basically made that into a battle game where you fight through different levels.
I like it. I'm a fan of Farle. I'm not a fan of Bill, though, because he just rolled 4 6s.
Screwbill. Oh,
Screwbill.
I've forgotten the name of that. There's some special name for if you get 6 of the same. But with like the Maiden's Triple, say if you have, I think it's like 100 times the number on the dice. So if you rolled 3 4s, then you get 400 points and stuff like that. And it's just, just Farle things.
Just Farle things.
I'm playing the very current games.
Farle.
Like, forget Hoop on a Stick. That's too modern for me. Bring back
It's
Farle.
all about Farle, dude.
So yeah, I remember having a Farle dream, but I don't really remember what
That's so
happened
funny.
in it.
Oh my gosh.
I just woke up thinking about Farle and I was like, oh, it must be. I must have dreamt about it. It's really good though. I recommend it. I don't know when the game's actually out.
So far. Farle, I mean.
Good old Farle.
Oh my god. All 6 dice have scored. You can throw. I rolled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh,
Blamey.
it's so good
That's
when
it.
you get that.
I've completed Farle. All right, that's it. I'm done. Okay.
Because there are times when like you lock in, you're like, oh, I got a 1 and a 5, but the rest of my dice aren't really anything. So I'm going to save those 2. I'll lock them in. But I'm going to re-roll these. But obviously I'm only rolling with 4 dice now. So I'm more likely to get Farled. And then it's just like this little like, oh, do I push it? Do I push it a bit further? And I was on a call with Tom Hazel last night. And he was watching my screen and he was just like, go on, do it. And it's like, do it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And sometimes you'd roll them and you'd get really good. And then other times you'd roll them and you'd be like, no, I Farled.
I'm Farled. Oh, I've got Farle.
Get fucked. And yeah, it's a good game though. If the demo is out, Dice a Lot. Try it out. If Dice a Lot are listening, please send me a key when you're released because I bloody love your game. Kleck is out today. Oh, I've just dated the podcast, but really excited for that as well. But yeah. But this is not a games podcast.
We can make it a games podcast.
Yay!
Why not?
New year, new pod. But yeah, that's like what my dreams have been like. It's just these tiny little
snippets and
scraps and very like floaty, nothing solid. So yeah. I really have nothing to contribute today.
A little bit. Mine have been pretty floaty as well, but I did just have a little bit just now. I say that I was surprised I had anything at all because I was up till 4 a.m. Pokemon battling on the card game app.
Oh my god!
But I had the worst luck. Right, I'll talk about my dream in a minute. I'm going to talk about Pokemon first. I was like, I have a grass deck on there that it's not strong by any means. It's not like here's my Mewtwo EX, I'm going to win kind of deck. It's if the strategy works, if I pull the cards in the right order, I will probably win kind of deck. Yeah. And I just really believe in it. It's like a child that they're not doing anything particularly special, but I love them anyway, you know? And
like me.
And I went into like 3 battles and people there was one person using a water deck and they kind of just kicked my ass because I didn't pull any basic Pokemon. I only had my 1 active Pokemon and then they nearly killed it and I was like, well, it's over, so I concede. And the others were using fire decks. So I was like, well, I'm screwed. I didn't concede immediately. I do try, but again, the pulls were awful. I was not pulling any basic Pokemon. I had just one little guy up there and he was about to get eaten by a Moltres, and it was like, right, okay, it's over for me. Then I finally got into a fight with a guy who was using a dark type deck, which you don't really see on there because there's not a lot of dark type cards up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is nice. You know, this guy, he's not just going in and throwing down an EX and just going for it. He's thinking about it. He's doing a little bit of strategy. He's put together a lovely dark type deck. And then he immediately went AFK and then conceded.
Oh.
And I was just like, well, I got my win, but was it worth it? And by then it was 4 a.m. and I was like, well, I can't do another one. So that was me until 4 a.m. I didn't get a proper win. Feels bad, man. But I had a little dream. I don't remember the full extent of it, but I do remember that I was out for a walk, I think with my mum, and we were walking through fields near our old house, and we were going to a friend of my mum's who passed away recently in real life. But we were going to her house, and this wasn't actually her house because it was more of a cottage, and it was just in the middle of a field sort of thing. It was very picturesque. But I think we were kind of lost, so maybe she'd moved there recently in the dream and we were trying to find it. So we're heading through these fields, trying to get to this house. And eventually it was kind of a strange way of getting there. Like we almost had to go like underground and then resurface to be in this field. And once we got outside of this cottage, turns out we had a cat with us. And it was a bit like, oh, I hope the cat's all right. It wasn't tabs or anything. It was just, I think it was like a grey, like smoky grey, like blackish cat. And they were just following us. So we were sort of half aware of this cat that was with us. And as I'm walking down the footpath heading towards this cottage, I notice there's a tree on the left-hand side of it, and the tree has like chestnuts or hazelnuts. They didn't look like any kind of nut in real life, but they were supposed to be nuts of some description. So me and my mum are like picking up nuts that had fallen off of this tree, and they're massive. They're like the size of like a big strawberry. My mum started grabbing another one and like knocking them together so that they would break in half and she could get the actual nut out of them. So I did that too. And we started collecting them. And by which point we had like a little bag of them. And then we got to the cottage. And I don't remember going into the cottage. The dream sort of jumps after that. At that point, it jumped to another field, which had like a little play area in it. But it was kind of a play area for dogs. I couldn't describe it, but it in my brain, it was like, this is for dogs. And I remembered walking past it earlier in the dream and being like, oh, my dog would like that. My dog Harley would like that. He'd love that field with the playthings. So we're walking back past it after going to this cottage, and there's dogs everywhere. And I see a little terrier type. I think really they were like a corgi cross terrier sort of. I just see them from behind and they had a corgi bum. But in my brain, they looked like my dog Harley. So I'm going, Harley, come here, Harley. And this dog isn't reacting. And I'm like, for fuck's sake, he's just not coming over. And as I got closer, I was like, oh, this isn't Harley at all. And someone else was like, why did you think Harley was here? And I think at that point, sorry, I'm mumbling, but I was describing my dog to someone else. And I was like, yeah, it doesn't make sense that he'd be here anyway because he passed away in 2014. But
yeah,
since it's a dream, I thought he might be hanging around.
To defend yourself in your own dream.
I was like, well, it's a dream. Surely he'd be here somewhere. But no, turns out he's not. And then I remember looking to the left and there was like a big like basket egg-shaped chair thing full of cats, and that was nice. And then that was it. Yeah.
Oh my god.
That was it. So that was my dream. It was a bit all over the place, but there's a little bit of stuff happening.
Yeah.
And Harley didn't show up, little bugger. Don't know where he is.
Well, I looked up some stuff in the book. that I think we've not looked up before, but also I might have just forgotten that we have.
Oh.
But it'll be fresh either way. Because normally we look up like field, whereas this time I looked up countryside. And it says, when we dream of the countryside, we are putting ourselves in touch with our own natural, spontaneous feelings. We may have memories of the countryside that invoke a particular mood state or way of being. We can return without feeling guilty to a very relaxed state. So I wonder if, the fact that it says we can return without feeling guilty, I wonder if because obviously you've been around for Jingle Jam and working hard, but being away from home and home comforts and your own space. I wonder if you put yourself in a nice countryside with a cottage and stuff just to be
chill.
Just to have a bit of a, this is, and also probably a bit that it is bloody grey and miserable every day as well. So maybe, do you remember what the weather was like? Was it a nice, I sort of assumed it was a nice spring day countryside.
I think it was nice and sunny, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the cottage around that being nice and sunny.
Which sounds exactly what we need right now.
It's just been bloody grey.
Yeah.
The best type of weather this time of year is when it's nice and cold, but the sky is totally blue.
Yeah.
You can have a really snowy day or an icy day, but as soon as the sky clears and it's really blue, it's this is the best. It can be -5 and it's sunny, and I'm like, hell yeah, dude.
I like sunny autumnal days, I think, are my favorite. I love spring as well, but I think because everything is sort of going from being quite bare into coming alive in spring, whereas in autumn, the leaves are still on the trees and the colors are changing, and I like that. Whereas spring can still be a bit everything is
everything's dead.
Yeah. I also looked up, speaking of trees, I looked up tree because you said there was a tree.
There was a tree. There was a nut tree.
And
nuts.
The section for tree is pretty much a whole page.
Oh.
It's huge.
It's like a piece by Tolkien. It's just describing all the trees.
That's what half the book is just about this tree. It says the tree is symbolic in dreams of the basic structure of our inner lives. When one appears in our dreams, it is best to work with the image fairly extensively. Okay, this is the rest of the episode now. We're getting to the bottom of this tree.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so there are various options, which you may or may not remember. But do you remember if it had wide branches, or was it a small, close-leafed tree, a well-shaped, or a large or messy tree?
It was a smaller tree. It wasn't tiny. It was probably I don't know, 8-10 feet tall. And it was one of those ones that has the smaller branches.
Oh,
it's hard to describe. It wasn't a tree with a big trunk. It was lots of smaller branches all branching out.
Because apparently a small, close-leafed tree suggests an uptight personality.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
well,
no.
Shit.
Was it well-shaped or messy?
I would say messy.
Okay, that makes more sense. It suggests a chaotic personality.
No. Fair. What about the nuts?
Well, there's more. We're not done with the tree.
Oh, sorry,
yet.
yes, there's
so
a lot
much
of tree.
with the tree. Do you remember if it had a rough trunk or a smooth trunk?
I don't think it had a proper trunk.
Okay.
It was more like one of those ones with lots of smaller trunks coming out of the ground, if you know what I mean. It's hard to describe.
Because it says a rough trunk suggests, obviously, a rough and ready personality, whereas a smoother trunk indicates more sophistication. There's a lot about this tree.
That makes sense. It means I'm a mess. Yeah.
Spreading roots indicate an ability to relate well to the physical and deep-rootedness would suggest a more self-contained attitude. It also says, spiritually, the tree symbolizes the tree of life and represents the union of heaven, earth, and water. When we learn and understand our own tree, we are able to live life successfully on all levels. So if you really understand this tree, you're guaranteed success.
Oh, well, there we go.
In all aspects of life. I did also look up nut. First, it says about nuts and bolts, which is irrelevant. Okay, so edible nuts. It says, because of their shape, have what? Okay, I understand. I was confused by commas then. Edible nuts, because of their shape, have significance as inner nourishment. It was thought that they fed the brain, thus giving wisdom. They can still have this significance in dreams. Again, because of their shape, there is a connection with the masculine sexuality and fertility. Lovely. To dream of nuts may suggest that we are trying to depersonalize issues to do with sexuality. Nuts were reputed to be the gods of the gods of the food of the gods, and so spiritually enhance the psychic powers.
Oh,
there you go.
There you go.
If it had been nuts and bolts, it says, in the old-fashioned sense, a nut would be considered feminine and the screw masculine. Stop it, Burke.
Why?
Freud. One of the things I find fascinating about nuts is how, like, obviously they appear in supermarkets pre-made. But when you actually look at, like, how cashews are grown and stuff, it's so weird.
Yeah, that's so strange, right?
Yeah. And, like, I think the first time I saw walnuts in the wild as well, you just don't, think about how much must go in.
Yeah, you don't think
to
about
getting
how
nuts.
They actually look and stuff as well. I think overall, there was a lot of stuff about home in this dream.
Yeah.
Like, particularly where I used to live with my parents, because we were walking through the fields there. I was with my mum, obviously. We were going to visit my mum's friend who also lived there. My dog was not there, but I thought about him. Also, the nuts themselves, like living in this place, like when you would go and take the dog for a walk, there was often a lot of forage knocking about. There were, at the right time of the year, there'd be plums, there'd be nuts, there'd be raspberries, blackberries, sloes. There was just so much that you could just go out and gather, which was really nice. So just the thought of just going out and just collecting some nuts while out on a walk in the fields is kind of just what I would have done while walking the dog anyway. You know what I mean? So it was a very sort of homey dream.
Homey and wholesome.
Nice. Yeah.
Looking up how Brazil nuts are grown. I've never looked up Brazil nuts before.
Brazil nuts. There was the type of nut that used to grow around there. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, is it what are conkers? They're horse chestnuts, aren't they?
Yeah.
Are they ones that you can't eat?
You can't eat conkers. I think. Well, I mean, maybe if you're brave.
But you can eat chestnuts, but not horse chestnuts, right?
Yeah. You can eat chestnuts.
Horse.
There were chestnut trees as well. There were certain places where chestnuts would drop and where apples would grow as well, where like we'd stop by the side of the road and collect them. UK nuts. They had like a green like outer coat. And I can't remember what they're called.
Oh, apparently they're called horse chestnuts because they were used as horse medicine to treat horses with coughs and stomach issues. I can't imagine a horse coughing.
Oh.
There you go. The seeds were ground up to feed horses.
Nuts. That's it. It's a type of hazelnut. Cob nuts, C-O-B. Cob nuts grew everywhere where I used to live, and apparently it's a type of hazelnut.
Ah.
is what we call a cultivated hazelnut. Okay, so it was a hazelnut. There you go.
Oh yeah.
There you go. But yeah, they grew all over the shop as well. It was so nice. I every now and then I'm just like, oh, maybe I should just go for a walk. Like drive over there and just go for a little walk. But not when the weather's like this.
Yeah. It's just so uninspiring to leave at the moment. I've not really been, other than going into the office for streams, I've not really been out and about. I went for a little walk in the rain just because it was like grommet when Feathers McGraw moves in.
Oh,
I just felt really down, and I was like, I'm just gonna go for a walk. I just wandered around
outside
for like an hour in the rain, just like,
oh, Bridie.
But yeah, other than that, just not really been outside much. Oh my gosh, the other day, I had a doctor's appointment, and it involved, some examination. So I was saying like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like the doctor is uphill from my house. I was like, oh, sorry if I'm a bit stinky. And the doctor was like, oh, don't worry about it. Like I went for a jog in the park just before this. So, I'm probably just as bad. And I was just like, okay, you went for a jog and you're absolutely fine. And I walked up a hill and I'm stinky. Like, we are not the same.
Were they working when they went for their jog? Or did they just fancy a little bit of a jog on their break?
I guess they must have just got... The appointment was at like 8:30, so I'm guessing it was a pre-work...
Oh, yeah, they must have done a pre-work jog.
Yeah. Just like...
Oh, my gosh.
All I did was walk uphill. And I'm wheezy and
I'm like that. Whenever I'm in Bristol and people are like, oh, there's a really nice restaurant. We should go there. Let's go there on whenever date. And 9 times out of 10, it's up that road that I can't remember the name of. It's up Park Street.
Yeah.
It's up bloody Park. And they're walking towards it and I'm like, don't do it. Don't make me do it. And they make me do it every damn time. They make me walk up Park Street and then we get to the top and I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
I cry.
I remember the first time I went up there with Boba. And she was like, we don't get hills like this in Florida. I was like, sorry. Because they moved, there's like Mrs. Potts Chocolate House. And it used to be at the bottom of Park Street. And then they moved it like halfway up. And I'm like, now I feel like I'm earning this hot chocolate. Because I've definitely burnt off this much walking up half a hill. I deserve this now.
Yep, I deserve everything. That's why they put all the ice cream up there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Bloody Park Street.
I do like Park Street. It's got some nice things on it.
It has some lovely places, but you just have to walk up a hill to get to them.
Yeah, you've got to earn them. Every year I buy my wrapping paper from the Oxfam bookshop on Park Street because they always do recyclable wrapping paper.
Ah.
So I get it all from there. I make my yearly Park Street pilgrimage. I say
I'm not
yearly.
walking up that hill any other time.
Yeah. I'll do it for the sake of Christmas and that's it. But yeah, I got the bus to the top of it and I walked down. I was like, I'm not walking up.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the amount of times that we've been going up there for food and Ravs has been like, I'm not doing it. I'm getting an Uber. I'm getting an Uber to the top of Park Street.
You just gotta pace yourself. Just take it slow.
You can do that when you're on your own, but when you've got other people that will walk into a restaurant with you, they're like a mile ahead and you're just like, slow down, please.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Dear, oh dear.
I can't remember what other dreams I've had.
Oh no.
I know I had one when I was in Bristol.
Yeah.
About being on camera, which is, yeah. I know it was like I was in bed and it was in my brain, there was a camera set up on the other side of the room and I was on a stream, but I was in bed. And every now and then I was supposed to like, I don't know, hold up a sign or something.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh no, but I'm not wearing any pajamas, so I need to be really careful. But I was wearing pajamas. But that was it. That was just like, I've been on camera so much now, I'm dreaming about being on camera.
Yeah.
Which was fun.
I can't remember if I've had any like I say, they've all just been so floaty little things. And I think, like I was saying earlier, I think because I've been so tired, I've been having proper deep sleep as well. So I think I've maybe just been avoiding that level of dream sleep that you knew, the sweet spot where you can still remember the stuff. And also, just to add, extra difficulty to having dreams, I think I've been having to pretty much get up straight away every time I've woken up, and then that's got rid of any dreams I've had.
That'll do it. That just knocks them straight out of your brain.
Yeah. I think also Tab's bapping my face. He's just been bapping.
Now we know why I never have dreams, because you wake me up, you bugger. You pain in the bum.
There'll be a dream in there, and then just one light little bap on the face, and then it's like, oh, it's gone.
Oh, goodbye, dream.
Breakfast.
Where is my food, please?
I've not eaten in 7 hours. Feed me.
I'm so hungry.
Honestly, the number of times that I'd be working late and I'd get home and I'd be like, Alex, did you give Taboo his dinner? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, Taboo says otherwise. He's like, I definitely did. And I'm like, okay. Tab's just there like, I have not eaten in days. I'm wasting away.
He does that when my mum's here as well. She'll feed him or set the feeder up, and I get home and he's like, Mother, I have not had a single crumb. Please. You are a liar. You are lying to me.
Food boy. But yeah, I feel bad that I have nothing to contribute. But hopefully, I mean, Jingle Jam only has, I'm going to date the podcast again. It's only 3 days left of Jingle Jam now, so maybe next week.
Is there 3?
There's today.
Oh, yeah, I guess if you include today,
yeah. And then, tomorrow, Saturday. And then that's that.
Yeah, done for another year.
Yeah.
My goodness.
One thing I'm excited about in this next coming week, other than just having normal routine again for a week just to steady my nerves, but there's actually films in the cinema that I want to watch.
Yay.
And for so long there's been just nothing that's tempted me at all. I was sort of like, should I go and see the second Beetlejuice just as something to watch? But I never watched the first one, so I don't really care. But yeah, there's the new Lord of the Rings, which I know a lot of people feel very mixed about, but I'm
excited for that. Is that out now, or
it's out tomorrow? Third time dating tomorrow, which is Friday the 30th of December, 2024. It will be out. And there's also a film called Queer, which I want to go and watch. There's for 3 days only, they're showing Interstellar 5555, which I've only ever seen on telly, so I'd quite like to watch it in the cinema. So yeah, just all of a sudden I'm like, cinema. But we had this really confusing conversation yesterday, Alex and I, where basically he wants to go and visit this. Okay, so we've been watching a lot of Ghost Theory. So he has been on a lot of urban exploration forums and stuff trying to find things. And he found this bunker that he really wants to go and visit. I'm sort of scared because part of me thinks, what if we accidentally get locked in a bunker and we have no signal and we just have to wait till someone else tries to find this bunker? But so if I disappear, please, if you don't
just
hear from me for a day.
Tell me when you're going and I'll keep an eye out.
please come down to Bristol and check the bunker. But
Okay.
he wants to go visit this bunker. I want to go and watch Riders of Rohirrim or whatever it's called. And I said to him, he was like half listening to me. And I said to him, why don't you bunk off work and we'll go and see Riders of Rohirrim? The only word he heard of this was obviously bunk.
Bunker.
So he started being like, I think we'd have to go quite late at night though, because there'd be like people in the shops and stuff. And I was like, what?
Oh.
That's fine. Like, there's not anyone, because obviously I was joking about bunking off work, but I was like, no one from work is going to be around. And he was just like, yeah, but there'll be people there. And I was like, yeah, that doesn't matter. They're not going to know. And he was like, well, I think it would be obvious. What if they call the police? And I was like, what do you... At that point, I was like, hang on. I don't think there's... Either he's taking this joke really far or he did not understand what I was saying. So I was like, what do you think we're talking about right now? And he was like, going to the bunker. I was like, oh, okay. I thought you were saying that people will somehow tell that you're not at work and they call the police and be like, yeah, this guy's bunking off work. Please come and arrest him. It was just one of those moments where I was like, what do you think is happening right now? Because it's not what I think's happening.
Oh my gosh. It's like when you don't go to school as a kid and like you go out with your mum and you're like, oh my God, someone's going to come and arrest me. There's police over there. Oh God.
Yeah. I think the scariest time I ever had was, I think I told you about this before, but there was a time when I was a teenager and I literally had all the stuff I had downloaded illegally through Kazaa and LimeWire, etc. I had it in a folder that was just called downloaded stuff.
I remember you telling me this story.
And I didn't realize that my dad's car had been vandalized. Someone had poured paint stripper over it. He had told like the local police and they were coming around. I didn't know this. So I'm sat there organizing my illegal stuff folder. And I hear a noise behind me and I turn around and there's like uniformed police officer just walks into the room. And I was like, oh my gosh, all of those warnings were right. They had to arrest me because I've been downloading placebo albums and stuff. And I was just like, oh, I just immediately thought, this is it. I will pay for my life of crime. But no, they just wanted to chat with my dad.
Yeah, I was just here for the car.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah,
that's so funny.
That's what happens if you bunk off of work, though. People can tell. And they call the police.
And then they'll call the police.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I am excited to go to the cinema.
I've not been to the cinema in so long.
Oh my gosh, I just realized I had you down here for a week and I still didn't make you watch Your Name.
Oh yeah. Well, to be fair, we didn't really have any time to do anything.
We don't really get any us time.
No, we didn't. We were busy the whole time.
Yeah. It has been a very busy Jingle Jam, which is nice.
Yeah.
And so far, touch wood,
Mm-hmm.
knock on wood, I've not heard a sniffle or a cough. Everyone
I've
seems
heard
to
a
have
couple,
been.
but I'm not naming any names.
But it seems to be. I mean, there have been some years where by the second week, pretty much like 90% of everyone is wiped out.
That is true.
And it's just the same 3 people in every stream just hanging on in there.
People have been a bit more healthy this year, thank God.
Yeah. Which is nice.
But,
it does make me think. I'm sort of bracing myself for getting ill on Monday. Not from like an actual ill perspective, but you know when you've been doing something and then you stop and it's like everything catches up with you.
You just run down.
Yeah. I'm fully prepared to feel like that on Monday, just like a...
Yeah, that's why like for these last couple of days, like I've got streams, like I've got a stream later, but I'm like, I might just not stream on my channel today just because rather than doing it in fits and starts, if I just take this big chunk of time off and then just come back fresh when everything's done, you know. It's sort of been a holiday where I've been working constantly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's...
Well, it's like me saying I took yesterday off so I could get my work done.
You didn't. Yeah, you literally just worked the whole day. Maniac.
Oh, other news. I also, when I was at the doctor, I put in that I would like to be referred for some sort of ADHD type testing. So you can all, I know we've had some people ask in the past, like, what the process is. You can live it in real time.
Yeah,
so I'll get back to you
follow Bryony
in 2 years' time.
6 months. Well, okay, maybe 2 years.
When I hear back. But yeah, if you're thinking of getting one, why not apply today? And then we can race and speed run.
We can speed run an ADHD diagnosis.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But it's one of those things that I was thinking, I guess I never really felt the need to go for one because I didn't feel like it was in any way, what's the word?
Affecting you?
Yeah, like debilitating or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas more so, especially over the last couple of years, I've been thinking, maybe it would actually help to know and to be put on. I'm not really a medication person, but just to be maybe more open to resources and stuff like that, and also just like the self validation.
Just being able to say, that's why, that's the reason.
I'm not the problem.
I'm not the problem. It's not me.
But then imagine it comes back and they're like, no.
You're fine. You're just.
It's just you.
Neurotypical.
You're the problem. You're just an idiot. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, no. Oh, jeez. That was my number one fear all along.
Yeah. I am the problem.
Oh.
But yeah, I thought, may as well get on the list and be in the system. And hopefully, I mean, maybe it'll be speedier than I think.
Yeah, it's good to get it done now.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, just the earlier the better.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be doing a lot of waiting.
Yeah.
A whole lot of waiting. But yeah, I hope they get back to you soon. If I need to, because I've been away for Jingle Jam, I've not been able to fill in my forms for my meds, and they're like, when I don't fill them in quick enough, they're like resending them, so I get an email like, you've got a new form to fill in, and I'm like, that's the same form. You're just being passive aggressive.
Yeah.
So I need to remember to do it.
The form equivalent of as per my last email.
Literally.
Oh, well, thank you, Kirsty.
Oh, thank you, Bryony.
For a lovely chat, and apologies for just not having any dreams. But on the plus side,
been so busy and
I've
sleepy.
had lovely sleep, so
that's good. That makes a change.
Yeah. So it's actually been quite nice, but also not good for content, which is the real priority.
Sleep is better than content.
Yeah. I'll just have to start doing sleep streams so that even the good sleep is content. Monetize it all.
If you manage to go to sleep, all you'll dream about is being on camera.
Yeah.
And being awake. So there you go.
Doing something embarrassing. Terrible.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I hope all of you that participate and watch it having lovely Jingle Jams. Also, it will be enjoying the final day of Jingle Jam when you hear this. Or maybe it's already done.
Maybe.
To date it again, It's the 12th, Thursday, the 12th of December. Everyone, just so you know.
Just so you know. Well, if you've not listened to this on Saturday, I hope you all enjoyed the Jingle Jam. And if you don't know what a Jingle Jam is, go and look it up.
Yeah.
And then come and join in next time.
And watch all of the VODs except Dav eating the burger.
Yeah, don't watch that.
No one ever needs to see that. Ever.
Ever again.
Yeah. But until next time, everyone. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.